And welcome to a late night slash early morning slash later night edition of Indiepocalypse Radio. Indiepocalypse Radio, of course, being your home for people hanging out. It's kind of like now I need to find a way to turn this into like a snappier way to say this, but it's sort of like it's that post con hangout, but you're just sitting there and you're like listening to it while other people are having it, and that is us. We are the people having. I'm Andrew. I'm the host of the show. I run, organize, etc., etc. All the things around Indiepocalypse. Of course, Indiepocalypse being the premier monthly indie game anthology premiere by default, being the only one. That's the trick. If you do something and attach enough qualifiers to it, you can say you can give yourself whatever superlatives you want if you are the only one of those things. It also makes it the worst monthly indie game anthology on the internet. It's kind of the everything. Anyway, speaking of anthologies and publishing and people who have less madness to do it monthly, or more sense rather, I should say, to not do it monthly. We have our first guest who familiar to the world of independent games, but of course, as we expand our expand our scope, I should say rather, beyond the world of these nepo guests. It's Ryan Brown. Ryan, how are you doing today? From Lost in Cult, Super Rare, a lot of stuff. You've been around for a while.
Yeah. Hello. Yes, very good to be here. Thanks for having me
Yes.
on, as per. And this is the first time I've communicated with someone that isn't my partner for the last week or so. So
Yes,
get
this
to
is
exercise those social skills, which is good.
this is the first time I've had a long-standing conversation with another person in a week, maybe. Um,
Too
since
much.
since maybe this show last week. Um, but that's just me. But yes, we were talking. If people unfamiliar with,
Mhm.
I don't know what to start with. Let's start with, I guess, your the current work. If people unfamiliar with Lost in Cult, what is Lost in Cult?
Sure. So yeah, I'll do the whole spiel.
Yes.
So hello, I'm Ryan, or Toads Anime Online. I currently, very recently, work for a company called Lost in Cult,
Oh,
which is known for making premium video game culture books. You've probably seen them around at some point. They're called Lock On. We also do vinyls and other video game merchandise. I'm currently the marketing director there, but I've also joined to start up and run my own indie video game publishing label here, um, which hasn't been. I've announced I'm doing it, but haven't like announced what the name of it is or any of the
right.
games under the label yet. But we will be sharing that at some point in the new year. But that's really cool. Obviously, that's what I've always wanted to do, and I feel like I've been working towards is running my own games publisher.
Yeah.
Previously, been at Super 8 Games and Video Game Jealous and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we were talking last week about myself and Luis Hernandez. We're talking about superstar etc etc devs, longstanding game devs, and the realization that a lot of them like they were been around for so long that they could like cut their teeth, so to speak, on so to speak lower budget projects, as because like if you started at like the NES and MSX era or whatever and just were like working at a company, you had smaller budget projects because you can only pump so much money into like an NES game. And now like since technology is not changing, hasn't really changed that much over the past decade or more in the same way it was so rapidly changing in that early era. It's harder to be like, oh, I led this smaller project, and now I can get a lot of money and I can make Metal Gear or whatever. Um, but like
Yeah,
because there are like how many there are like fewer like small publishers, or all the small publishers grow very quickly and then they become larger publishers.
yeah. Although I guess much like the term indie, like small publisher, is like a very difficult terminology to loop into
Yeah.
because at my previous place, Super Rare Games, if I signed a game at 500,000, that would be considered a small budget for a commercial project.
Yes.
Whereas
Yeah.
like I'm with the new label, like obviously starting from scratch, a lot of the things we're gonna have to sign are gonna be way smaller than 500,000, and certainly not millions. So it's like, yeah, I think to a lot of people, like a small indie game, when we're talking not indie apocalypse or any of that small sort of grassroots scene, but when we're talking the indie scene at large, like the mainstream view of indie, when they're looking at a game like Viewfinder or Stray, and go, that's indie. Those are like 30 million to
Yeah.
100 million like dollar projects. And then when you're talking commercial stuff, it's like 250K to a million or a few million. I have less than that currently at this new place, so
Yeah, but I
we'll
think
see.
I think that's like we need like, and I think this is a problem that is increasingly existing across most mediums. But there needs to be like low, mid, indie, like multiple tiers of budgets publishers are willing to give money to artists at. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
because I Indiepocalypse commissions at a very low rate. Um,
Mm.
but if I gave those same publishers like like a $6 million budget, the same developers a $6 million budget. I'm sure they would also make good things. That's
Mm.
not. It's not like the games are exclusive to like, oh, my ambitions only lie within this. Also, they probably get made a lot, make them faster to some extent, maybe, but
Yeah.
games take too long to make, or people are allowing games to take too long to make. People need to reuse stuff more often.
Yes, yeah, and also like to be honest, like most publishers, like one of the things I feel like sets me apart is that most publishers are sort of looking to sign games that already have some level of proven success,
Right.
even if that's like wish list numbers or social numbers. I ain't doing that. I haven't got any investors or bosses. Like I'm just gonna look at a game and go, that looks sick. So it often is like the itch.io sort of games and those small grassroots developers and small indie devs have been working on game jam games and stuff like that I'm interested in signing, and I did when I was at Super Rare. One of the Townseek was one of the games we signed there, which is the numbers on that. Obviously, I'm not at Super Rare anymore. I'm at Lost Cult, but the numbers on that game were looking fantastic, and that was just two people making a game jam game on itch.io. So yeah, the people, I feel like with probably the rest of the world and how every industry works, like the big money companies and stuff are just acting how they always act instead of looking at where the sources of that cool new fresh ideas and fresh talent actually is.
Right.
So
The fresh talent has to prove itself first, and then it's
yeah,
at and it's like at that point, what do I need publishers for? I guess unless I just want more money.
yeah,
It was it
yeah,
was a
exactly, yeah, yeah.
it was a weird thing that I thought about a lot when it was like, I can't remember what site. Let's just say IGN, because IGN's a big site. But they were like something to the effect of, "Oh, we can't. Indie developers have to help us. Like if our indie articles do good, we don't do good. We can't write them." And it's a weird thing. It's like, well, if indie devs can generate enough heat to draw people to IGN, do they need IGN anymore?
Yeah.
It's it's that weird sort of like, yeah, somebody needs to be like, this developer has zero footprint online, but they're still good. Somebody needs to have that kind of like, yeah, uh, I still want to publish, cover, etc., their games.
Yeah, it's all, it's like everything. It's all just because like even the super indie looking publishers are actually owned by shareholders and investors
Right.
and kind of business suit, usually white men that have been working in the games industry for 40, 50 years and are now going, I'm indie now. And it's like the same people that are always doing business how they've always done business. So I mean, they're always looking for, the same sort of stats and numbers and stuff. And stats and numbers are obviously useful and you can't ignore them. But also, like, I don't have any
Yeah.
investors and shareholders, and like I do just want to sign a game because I think it looks sick, and if
It,
that
it,
doesn't pan out, then
right.
oops. But
It's how publishers develop like house styles. Even though they don't
yeah,
actually make any games.
yeah,
But
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
no, I've
So
no, I've definitely seen you like, I've seen you in the grind doing a bolder thing than I do, where commenting on developers to say like, hey, email me, um, at
yeah,
such and such. I said, if only I had the courage to do so.
My main fear, if I ever publicly reply like that, like
Yeah.
obviously I want to, if I'm contacting developers, whether it's for like a big like signing them for a publishing thing, or whether it was like my mixtape,
Yeah.
like compilation project or whatever. Like if I want to contact them, I'd like to do it over DMs or email. If I'm doing it
Yes.
publicly, it's because they literally don't have DMs or emails listed
Yes.
somewhere, which sucks.
I have.
And if I
Go ahead.
publicly, my main worry is usually another publisher might see I'm doing this and go for them as well, and
Right.
they have
Right.
much more than I do. So
Yes. It's like why?
there's a risk.
Yeah, because like, why is this person? I've definitely come across when I'm looking at games. I'm like, there's this person. I've also gotten extremely good at finding email addresses when people don't want them to be found or don't have them in an obvious spot.
Yeah, I feel that's like a thing. Like with it's that. Oh my god, we're so subject jumping. Very sorry to everyone listening, but I'm finding it interesting, and that's what
Yeah,
matters.
no, that's fine. This does not have a subject.
But I find like there's one issue with creatives is that obviously understandably is they don't necessarily think about the marketing parts all the time. Many
Yeah.
do, but many understandably don't because they're too busy juggling so many other plates. And that means that yeah, like similar things like being able to get in contact with someone for like an actually cool opportunity is sometimes not possible, which is very upsetting and annoying. There's been many games, both on mixtape level and like I want to talk to this person about actually publishing something for them, and I literally can't contact them. Like they don't have open DMs, their emails are listed anywhere. They don't have their real name listed, so I can't like, find them up in any way. So I'm just like, cool. I straight up I cannot contact this person.
Right now,
um,
I have had a couple of developers basically where I had them like on a list, and I would just like check in like to commission them. I would check in like once a month and go, do you have an email yet? Do you have an email? Do you have a DMs open yet? No, no. Move on and check in. And once it paid off, the developer had made like a portfolio, like a new portfolio website that had their email on it. I was like, oh, finally. But yeah, there is like some people just like are completely inaccessible. And folks, I've had my email like my straight ass email, no little fun stuff on it, no dots or parentheses on like 6 sites, including my own website, for like 3 years. I don't get any spam. You can just do that. I don't know. It seems like it's just like I have no issue with it, so I don't think it's. I get the instinct, but I don't. If there's people scraping for spam, I've never encountered that problem.
yeah, I mean, I probably have like my thing actually is I get put on like lots of random press release lists.
Oh
So like
yes,
not even video game things. Like by having my email public, like I'll be emailed about, hey, oh, there's this new Tupperware set. Do you want one? I'm just like, what? I don't know what this. What? No. And that is probably all like actually like nonsense.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah. So I definitely get spam, but it's like I kind of need to do it still, you know. 'Cause I need the real stuff as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that is a difference. Like if you have anything adjacent to journalism in your profiles or anything, I'm sure you just wind up as someone who is looking for. We spent a while looking for journalists. You tend
yeah, yeah.
you
I mean,
tend
I
to
haven't
just
been a journalist for like 7 years, but
right.
I still will get that. And I think because I have anime in my handle as well, because my name is Toad's Anime, I've recently started getting like Crunchyroll emailing me, like, "Hi, do you want to come to this anime premiere?" I'm like, I haven't spoken about anime like in ever
Oh
on
yeah,
my cat. I don't know why my handle is like this. Um, yeah,
I've definitely gotten the weird like like pranks stuff.
pizza,
Yeah, like weird like pranked YouTube videos or whatever.
weird.
Um,
It must
and
just be word based. It must just be like some weird tool or algorithmic word based thing.
right, right. It's yeah, someone just like randomly like add 50 things that have a prank in them.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Still, have your emails or open DMs.
Yes.
Oh
have
well, I mean, well, you can't even open DM properly
yeah,
anymore.
right.
That's
I've
but
missed DMs. Like you don't get messages if you don't get message
if you're
requests
not
unless
mutually
you
following.
literally go into your DMs and see them. And if you're not getting DM'd, you don't get them at all.
Yeah, a lot of people also like since the Musk takeover. There's like a. I hate that Twitter is still important. I wish that Blue Sky or whatever was a replacement, but unfortunately, it is still important. Um, since the Musk takeover, like there's this weird thing now where you cannot receive DMs from people that you're not mutually following each other back and forth,
Right.
unless you go in your settings and change it, and most people haven't. So, and it won't even tell them, this person's attempted to message you or anything. They'll get nothing. They won't never know. So it's just becoming increasingly difficult to, unless you're willing to pay Twitter for tick or whatever.
I'm not even
It's
paying.
becoming increasingly difficult.
I'm never when that is my not proof of life. What is the thing when it's like you will know I am not me. I feel like there's a word for that. And it is when you catch me paying for a social media site, you will know that that I've been replaced. There is a different
Oh
person
my goodness.
masquerading as me. You will never catch me. Never.
Yeah, if someone can clip that.
That's my promise. My promise to you, dear listener, you'll never catch me paying for a social media site. I just don't like them. That's nothing. They're useful for people, but this is what I do. I go and I talk to people for 3 hours or 2 hours on a Saturday, and that's my version of social media. Which is this?
It's media and it's social.
Exactly. I don't like the. It's very strange. It's very strange to me. I just as a form of socialization, just like it's the first like you ever talk to someone and they kind of like talk around something because they really want you to ask them about it.
Yeah,
It's social media is like that, but that's the only way to interact. It's
yeah.
it's weird. It's weird. But anyway, we're not here. We got to talk about I don't know, video games. Those are things, I guess.
I've heard of them.
What do you think about video
I've,
games, Ryan? What's your opinion?
yeah, yeah, they're all right, aren't they? They're
Yeah,
okay.
they're good for
No, I love
like
them.
they're good for spending some time with, I guess.
It's so funny how like self-detrimental like people that like in some capacity work in games can be about games like games and this, but then also like I've also like frequently like if I like work on games for the rest of my life and then I die as hopefully as an old man and I can look back and be like, yeah, I worked in games all life, that I'm chill, that would be great.
Yeah.
So that's as much as I joke around, that is how much I care about video games. I have my whole in trying to at least have my whole like career planned out what I'm going to do. My intent, by the way, is to like cool build up a good publisher when I'm older and can retire, run a video games museum. That's the plan. Boom, all video games. Um,
Yes. Hopefully,
that's what I'd like
hopefully,
to.
like money to retire. What a dream. Uh, but
Yeah, I've
yeah,
actually got a spreadsheet of video games, a big backlog, like over 1,000 games I add to a spreadsheet. And then I'm looking at it now. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be able to finish these when I retire when I'm old. That'd be great. But,
yeah,
like,
of
I'm like
course.
30. Like that's just horrible way of thinking. Like, oh, good, in 40 years, I might be able to play this in 40 years. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I encounter. Then I'm like, oh, well, what if I don't even want to play a video game? What if I want to watch a movie? What if I want to uh, read a book? What if I want to go outside and just lie down? They're just
yeah, you could bring a Game Boy with you. It's fine.
no. I don't want to
Um,
bring a Game Boy. The only I want to live among nature.
Live on nature.
Yeah.
Um,
I,
but
I,
yes, video games. They're
yeah.
they're they're lovely. Um, very good. Love them.
I think
I'm very pleased and grateful to be working in the mental capacity.
I think that's
Yeah.
the benefit of if we bring it all the way back to the top of like having smaller budgets, smaller publishing scope and stuff like that it will naturally result in smaller games, uh,
Mm.
and I think like there's no whatever. Don't let big video game culture tell you otherwise, but I don't feel like there's any intrinsic quality connection between how long a game is and like how good it is.
No, oh gosh, no. I love small short games.
Yeah.
Like if I can play a lovely game and finish in 2 to 5 hours, I'm very very happy. There is like obviously there is a separate thing in terms of I'm like in two minds because like half of me is like my personal taste of what I want to play, half of me is about commercial prospects. And the commercial prospects is if a game is 20 minutes to 30 minutes long, it's not going to sell. So I have to consider that as in my job. But obviously I love games I can sit and are just very short bite-sized experiences, and they're just as meaningful, just as important, and just as fun and memorable to me as you know
Well,
Resident Evil 7 or
well,
yeah.
hopefully, one of these days I am doing my damnedest to what's the brute force a monetary acceptance of games of that length. Um, Hopefully it'll pay off eventually, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, I'll pay $5 for a 30-minute game. Why wouldn't I? I'll pay
I
$5 for a ton of different things."
I think thankfully there is like this like one of the main things I've been talking about a lot it's sort of in the industry in terms of my own plan with the publisher and whatnot is seeing this trend. What my thoughts are like something like Vampire Survivors, right?
Yeah,
Which is obviously massive success. It's sold millions and millions and millions of copies. Gigantic game. Average person on the street may have heard of Vampire Survivors at this point. Huge game, costs a couple of bucks. What I'm seeing is that like a lot of the industry, a lot of those sort of old school sort of publishing people are like looking at that game, going, "Great, we need one of these," and just copying Vampire Survivors like a roguelike thing with lots and lots of and just copying that element. Where I think what they're missing is I think the concept of that sort of bite-sized price game. I think that I honestly feel like within the next 5 years that will become a trend. Like that, like couple of quid max. You buy a game, and then because one of the main problems publishers are facing in signing short games is that it's the majority of indie video game sales happening on Steam,
yeah,
and Steam has a 2 hour refund thing. For no reason given, you can just refund it. You don't have to give any reason. You can just do it. And the refund rates for short games are actually frighteningly high. I mean, it's quite awful, but people will do it, especially if you're paying sort of mass market. But what is happening is if it only costs a couple of quid, no one bothers. No one, they go, it was only cost £2.
right.
So I do think you're right. I do think that time is a coming. The time of very short, 20 minutes to an hour kind of cool, memorable, decent experiences, which obviously means they can be low budget as well. Those kind of experiences that only cost a couple of quid, that trend is coming, I feel. And we can be a part of it. We can do it.
Yes, I also and I mention it constantly. I think more short game collections. If like prolific developers, like just release short story collections, but video games. That's how authors will often do that sort of thing. We might be talking to someone in our second segment who have more to say about this sort of thing, but that is a common practice of like, I'm not always going to release a bunch of like a short story individually. It might be in get published in a magazine or like some kind of anthology or sort of thing. But then later I put 6 of them together and I make a book out of them. And
I love stuff like that.
And that's just like that's what, like a centuries long practice or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, just folks, art's been around for so long. What if you just stole what other art forms are doing constantly? That's all I'm doing every day.
Works though. People like that works. Like that whole like a bundle of like short ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think people are doing that and then just releasing them for free on itch and stuff. But they could, like, if you bundle them up and put like 6 20-minute games you've made a week each per game or something in a little bundle and sell it for 3-4 quid on Steam, like that will work. And people love that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I love that sort of stuff. Everyone loves that sort of stuff.
And people are more open to different ideas than you think, like, marketing wisdom, whatever will tell you they are.
Yeah.
But
and that's sort of a hit and miss concept.
Yeah. But speaking of all that aside, Ryan, we're approaching. Speaking of short length things, these segments surprisingly short, and we're reaching the end of it. But before
Yes.
but before I go, I have two kind of standard questions I need to ask every guest. These long-standing questions from other question askers that have become part of the show itself. Ryan, up first, what's your favorite type of rock?
Oh, my favorite type of rock. I reckon it's got to be like giant rocks, like planet-sized rocks.
Okay.
Like they're pretty good. I'd like to have one of those in my house.
Do you have
Like a rock bigger than Earth in my room.
do you have a planet-sized house? Follow-up question:
Not yet.
How do you get one of those?
A big net, like a net, much bigger than that rock.
Okay. No, I'm talking about how do you get such a big house.
Oh, you could use the big rock. Just
Oh,
put a little door in it.
just is that what the little prince does? Is that what,
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with him. I feel like his stateside penetration is mild, but I think he's whenever I think of him, he's sitting on a big rock.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, perfect. And follow-up question, or not follow-up, but second question: do you have a favorite Toho character?
A favorite Toho character.
Favorite Toho character?
I don't know many Toho characters other than like very obvious ones I could name off the top of my head. So, I mean, I guess the true answer is that I don't, but that's very boring.
That's a common one because some people will be like, don't know what that is, and I have to go Danmaku series, long running Dojin, etc., etc. So, what's in your heart? Do you have one in your heart? If you don't, also that's why it's a do. It's an optional question.
Yeah, true. I guess I don't, but I feel horrible about that. And now, immediately after this, I will be Googling a list of all of Toho's IP and property and then picking a favorite. And I'll intentionally pick like the most obscure so it can be really cool.
Okay, perfect. Well, in the meantime, Ryan, thank you for joining me. We're going to be going on break.
Of course.
Now, can you stick around past the second segment? I need to ask since it is quite
Yeah. Yeah.
is approaching is switched over from PM to AM for you during the course of this recording, I believe.
We did. Yeah, it's 12:30 now, but I'm a terrible night owl with
Perfect.
terrible sleeping pattern.
Okay, so we will be back. We are going to speak to our next guest, and we'll be back in like 2 minutes and 46 seconds with that aforementioned guest. Bye for now. Welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was P.S. Eliot with Peach. That's the other part of the show. If you were here last week and you're like, what's this show? It's also a pirate radio show where I play music that I like because no one can stop me. We are here with our next guest, who you may know from Indiepocalypse issue number 44 with stand-uppers Ray White. Ray, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. It's I was mentioning off air that it's a heat wave here
Yes.
In Brisbane, Australia, where I live. So it's all right. normal times here in Australia.
Well, it's kind of a heat wave here in New England in that it's not it's pretty much January and it's not that cold. I'm not freezing to death, which truly a pleasure to be able to like what's the word I'm looking for? Tangibly experience global warming.
I was about to say that. Yeah, I was like, so how's about that climate change?
Yes. Sorry, climate change, the proper, because then people get hung up like, oh, it's cold now. How can it be global warming if now it's colder? It's like, well, a crazy ice storm or whatever in Chicago is also climate change. It's stuff that gets screwed up. But anyway,
Honestly, if I start experiencing snow here at any point, I'll be like, I'll be terrified. I actually had a delivery the other day from like the post person didn't want to deliver it. And it was marked as there was a hazard, and the hazard was snow. And that's possibly like the exact opposite, like literally the polar opposite of what is happening here right now. So I don't know what they saw, but it wasn't snow. It's a mirage. It was wishful thinking.
Right, they're just like, oh, I can't believe that's Well, that's the thing I never think about. Like because our traditions are so inverse, or because I wonder what like I occasionally think about like what are winter, summer holidays like in inverse climates, but then I'm like, who cares too much, and then I stop thinking about it. But we're here to talk about other things.
Yes.
The Santa where is out? He's out there surfing, right? That's the important thing I need to ask, right? Santa's out there surfing every
Yeah, he's
Christmas.
just out in the pool outside. Yeah,
He's just
saw
like
him
a
this
chill
morning.
dude.
Yeah.
He's like a classic surfer dude. He likes to hang out.
He's got his board shorts on. Yeah, yeah.
Right. He doesn't hang out with the polar bears every year because he's like, no, I'm hanging out with. I guess that's in the North Pole. That's not because it's cold in North America. Never mind. I guess he can still hang out with polar bears. Anyway, video games. You made one, and
Yeah.
then you submitted it to Indiepocalypse. Ray, how did you hear about Indiepocalypse?
Did a little bit of a search on itch, and then I was like, well, this is extremely cool. Um, and yeah, like read some of the good work, and then decided to submit stand up, which was like sort of I guess like I've made a number of games, and that was sort of like the one that's sort of like been the most popular and stuff. I like primarily I'm a poet, rather
Yes.
than a game developer, but I enjoy dabbling in like Bitsy and Twine and stuff. So
Right, because it's the benefit of poetry is that how do you make it? It requires words and a thing to transcribe those words onto, uh, which has been accessible for a very long time. Uh,
yeah, and it's like why not have any of those things that you put poetry into? It's like you can put words into a zine or into Bitsy or like whatever floats your boat. I don't know, graffiti it on walls, do whatever you want, people.
right,
Uh,
and I think that's I'm a big long time proponent of easier to use engines like Bitsy and Twine that are just like it doesn't require as much programming or graphics, and it's like in the same way that it just makes it more accessible. And
yeah, exactly. And like, when you're like, I'm just a little guy, like I just like want to be able to do a nice little techie thing, but and like I guess put across a message or do a little bit of storytelling, but it's like you don't want to I can code a tiny bit, but then there's other aspects of video games where I'm like I'm not gonna
right,
spend the time doing that. I'm gonna do tiny little games for a little gremlin. So
yeah, it's like it works. Not every it's in the same way not every piece of writing needs to be a 700-page novel.
yeah, and
And
I feel
not
like oh sorry, yeah.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like bits because like I make a lot of zines and stuff as well, and I feel like Bitsy and like zines have that kind of like a similar vibe where there's that kind of like low barrier to entry and like DIY kind of aspect. And a lot of it you can like learn yourself. As opposed to like I'm still like traditionally published and stuff. Like those things you call books, but I still really like that kind of DIY vibe because there's no barriers and there's no gatekeepers and stuff. Not that
Right,
my publishers are listening. You're not gatekeepers, and I love you, but like it's just a different vibe all
right,
round.
right, right. There's no you can just publish it. It's a weird
Yeah,
thing. It's a weird thing because publishers are inherently I don't know. See, gatekeepers is such a strange turn of phrase because it's like intentional people who are like guarding the gates, and then there's publishers who are like, we only publish 4 books a year. That's just what we have the budget for. That's what we logistically
yeah,
can do. If you're
exactly. And I feel like publishers are at least like the ones that I work with, like books and stuff, are they're so enthusiastic about sharing stories and like diverse voices and stuff like and that's really great like as a trans person, but it's also sometimes yeah, like they just don't have the budget
Right.
for to be able to publish everything that they want. Which is down with capitalism.
Yeah, yeah. There's the classics of small press of we can't do reprints because our each book funds the next book. So it's like, where do we don't have money to reprint books because we are using all that money to print our next books. I should have got it when I was in print, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel like that's definitely it's like with zines. I'm just like, yeah, it's more. I guess like I can't reprint that because I need that $20 to eat.
Yes, right.
So sorry, everyone, but
Yeah,
I'll
there's
post your copies next week. It's like,
right. It's or I need to wait till I get to work so I can sneak a bit at the printer, and
honestly, I hear all these stories. Like I was a writers festival and we were talking about zines, and someone was like, "Yeah, there's so many options for free printing," and I'm like, "No, cool, but where are they though?" Because like, do I just like do I just sneak into someone's office, like just pen test that and just like waltz in and be like, "Yes, I am here to fix your photocopier," and then just like whip out a USB with like zines on it. I don't know.
yeah,
Anyway, this is not about games, but I'm also like, where is the free printing? Like, I don't know.
have right. No, let's talking about stereotypically getting free printing is closer to Indiepocalypse than talking about Mario will ever be. Yeah, that is like, I don't know where these quote, maybe people are like, maybe they're college students, and maybe, but I feel like not all colleges offer free printing to their students. I feel like that is probably hit and
Yeah, I
miss
think you have to
even.
pay for it. Yeah, at least here you have to pay for it. I know there's an amazing. It's like if there are any Australian people listening, who happen to be in the exact same city as me, there is. I can't remember the name of the place, but there's a lovely place for like under 25s that where you can go like, just like chill and read zines and like Visible Ink. And like they have like workshops and like free printing and stuff. And like people keep saying to me, "Oh, you could go there." And I'm like, I'm almost 40, but I could have a go.
Right,
Just slather on the moisturizer, just waltz in and be like, "Hello, I'm young."
right. Where I have my 100 Gex shirt on. I love.
Yeah.
I am a millennial. Hello. I've never
Hello,
known.
I know what the kids like.
I've never known a world that is not chaos. I am a millennial. Hello. No, I am Gen Z. My life
And
is
the yeah.
my life is constant disorder. I'm a millennial. I'm also under 40. Or I'm not under 25 though. Oh shit. I'm not under 25. I could sneak it in though. I could sneak in.
I was like, I reckon like
I've not aged so poorly, I don't think.
yeah, I was like, I reckon, like get some moisturizer, put on
Yes.
I mean, I've got pink hair, like that's cool.
That
I got a
that
Pokemon
cuts
shirt,
like I think if you like, the thing is that cuts like a nice 10 years off your
Yeah.
perceived age.
Yeah, I know. People are like, "Oh, what an interesting child."
Yes.
Yeah, my partner always says that I look like kind of like I dress kind of like a toddler sometimes.
Yeah, toddlers, they're under 25. Right, you can do this. You can,
Yeah.
or
I
just,
got this. I got this. This is how you get the free printing.
or is it the opposite? Is it like the opposite of teens outside of a liquor store? Is it a bunch of like 40 somethings hanging out outside of outside of Visible Ink, being like, "Hey kid, can you print some zines for me?"
Oh my God, I think that is delightful.
Just
You're
like,
like, why can't you pay for it yourself, mate? Like, don't you have a good job? No.
what if we
The
do?
host doesn't pay kids.
Let's do a swap. I'll buy you some PBR. You print me some zines.
Yeah, I'll buy you some heroes at Forex.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you have PBR down in Australia?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm more of a wine drinker, but no, we have like I used to live right near a brewery
Okay.
called Forex, and it's just smelled of hops the whole time. Like you just woke up and you're like, "Oh, good morning."
Yeah, I am also I'm not a wine drinker traditionally, but I drink the kinds that has monks on it, and it costs too much money, and you drink,
Nice.
twice a month maybe, is my philosophy. So but I know PBR. I think it's a standard shitty beer in there.
Yeah, I feel like I should Google it. Hang on,
Pabst
is
Blue
this a
Ribbon,
thing?
as they say.
No, I feel like we do. Look, no, I've got like professional bull riders. Is the is the search result that I have, which is apparently something that also happens in Australia. So that's cool.
Here we go. The worst. Well, is it Foster's? Is Foster's your shitty beer?
I think we have Fosters. Yeah, I have no idea. Isn't that terrible?
I can
I'm
get.
just like,
Yeah. No.
it's like we call them tinnies here. So I think that's just I think that just means like, can I have a beer?
Yeah.
But I think if you ask someone at a barbecue for a tinny, you get whatever. Like
Oh, tin. Oh, yes.
it's whatever's on hand, mate.
Right, as being a tin can beer. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I broke down. I was like slowly like Sherlock. I'm
What are
seeing
they
words
talking
floating in
about?
front of my space. I'm like breaking down the etymology of your slang. Yeah. No. I guess most of the beers I drink do come in glass bottles.
Yeah, look, same. I mean, they're definitely low shelf.
Yeah.
There, there was one that I had at Christmas that I don't even know if it was low shelf or if it was just like I think something had happened in the process that it was not a happy wine. So not only was it cheap, but it tasted a bit vinegary. Yeah, I still feel kind of nauseous from that, but I drank it because you
Yeah,
gotta.
right. And I mean, I guess you might as well if it's already there. You opened it.
It was there.
You've opened it. You've got nothing else to do with it, I suppose. Yeah, that is. Right, we've stumbled upon the secret of Indiepocalypse Radio, which is I'm just going to talk about other people's food because I like shitty food.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like at this point people are going to be like, right, making notes, right, Ray, they make games, they do poems, they have terrible taste.
But that I think that's why I've clued in on this show as being like it's like a it's that post con conversation that you just happen to be listening into.
So it's chill
yeah,
vibes.
the slogan of Indiepocalypse Radio. I don't know if it's fun to listen to, but I love doing it.
Exactly. And that's the main thing. I'd listen to this on a podcast. I spend like 99% of my day like with headphones on listening
Yeah,
to podcasts. I would totally listen like and just chill and
perfect.
vibe. So
That's my
I
goal,
feel like it's
and
you're
that's
like hoovering, you got to listen to something, and it's
yeah,
just like, oh, these people are cool.
yeah.
I'm just saying
Like
we're cooler.
these people, like these indie devs, are not just weird automatons that make games. They're also human beings who like uh Taco Bell or whatever.
Yeah, oh my God, I love Taco Bell.
What no,
Wait,
do you have any special like little varietals down there? I guess you wouldn't know, not being from the US.
yeah, look, I have stalked the US menu actually, and there's
Yes.
like we don't have like some of the cool stuff. Like, we have that one that's like the two different tacos with cheese jammed in the middle. I can't remember.
Yes, the cheesy
They
gordita
changed the name.
crunch.
That's it. They changed the name here a couple of times, and I'm like, I don't know what to order anymore. So I just had to start describing it to the people, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Look, just let me in your kitchen. I got you."
Yes, you take the one taco, you cover it in cheese, and you put another shell on top of it.
Yeah, I'm like, I got this. But no, like I think Taco Bell's wild, and like there's um indie like journal called Taco Bell Quarterly.
Okay,
And
yes.
it's literally like it's not sponsored by them. They just takes like Taco Bell submissions and stuff. So it's like, oh my God, I've got to write like a homage poem. Like talk about how much I love Taco Bell in a poem. Um,
It's
I wait for an acceptance every day of my life.
is that one of our most American exports? Huh.
Taco Bell.
Yes.
Uh,
I'm trying to.
I think it's maybe one of your most gremlin exports.
I th-
I think that's the main reason I go there is because
yes.
I'm disgusting.
I try to. Part of the fun of having international guests is like, what is America outside of America? And is this shitty
Oh
gremlin food?
yeah. I mean, we definitely have. Oh yeah, McDonald's, which we call Macca's. I don't know if you call it Macca's.
McDonald's?
Um, yeah, we call it Macca's. Go get some
I've
Macca's.
never heard anyone talk about going to get some Mackers.
This is delightful. I was like, oh my God, what else do we have?
See, no,
Uh,
stateside, it's Mickey D's, is how I've heard it's shortened to, which is not even like shortening it. It's like,
it's more syllables, isn't it?
when it's like slangifying something, but it's like it's more slang, but it's not actually like a shortening of it. It feels like a shortening of it, but
But you're trying.
right, it feels like it's shorter. It's less letters, but not when you say them.
It also sounds cooler. Like
Yeah,
I don't know, Macca's sounds like you're going to your mate's place
but that
for a barbecue.
no, I mean, as for someone from outside of the Commonwealth, but within my own Commonwealth, it does sound like.
Are we talking?
No, go ahead.
Yeah,
No, because
I
Australia's
was
a
gonna say
Commonwealth, right?
we're talking about. Yeah, I was like, hang on, are we? Yes, we are. Yeah, people get pumped about that, and also sometimes not. Politics.
Yes.
But no, I was going to say we also have like Hungry Jacks, which I think we were talking about before off
Yes.
airs, that you call it. Is it Burger King? Because I think it's Burger King in some states here, but it's
Yes,
Hungry Jacks.
it is because
Yeah.
I think you already had a burger. You already had a king, and he cannot be deposed.
Oh, who's our king? We
Your
have
burger-
Donut King.
Who is your Burger King? But
Oh,
no, no, because I am
I was
also
like,
within.
who's...
I'm one of the weird states that is also Commonwealth, or designated as a Commonwealth. But
I'm now just trying to think of like why they call it Hungry Jacks. I guess I could Google it, but I also don't want to.
no, we don't
Unlike
need to.
also, I
That's
don't care. Yeah, I
beside
was like,
the
I
point.
don't care. I can just speculate.
Yeah, we
We
could.
usually say go to Hungry's. Is the slang.
One of the most fascinating things is that there was one night, very important research stuff. I was like, what do American sections look like in grocery stores around the world?
Yes.
And I was fascinated by like what is most internationally known as American food, and it's like Pop-Tarts.
Oh,
Like
yeah. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, like that's a fair point.
they were like in every like across the world, like it was like that and like our fake maple syrup that is like sugar.
Oh yes.
And it is like a weird. We unfortunately don't really have like a. I'm sure they sneak in some in our English section, but we don't have an Australian section in most of our grocery stores. So much for
I was
our.
like, yeah, I wonder what. Yeah, because there's not a lot. I was like, I can't think of anything like things that we have like lamingtons and fairy bread, and I can't think like a sausage in a bun. Like it's not, or in a bit of bread. It's not terribly. It's not exportable
A hot
particularly.
dog? I
Like
think they
what?
call us hot dogs.
Hot dog? Oh, it's no. You get this is so rambly, but you can go to like this hardware plant place called Bunnings, and you can just get a snag in bread. It's just get
Wait,
you can just go there and get that for like a couple of dollars.
that sounds like.
It's so weird.
Is it good? Are they good?
I'm vegetarian. I've no. It's also a thing for voting here. Like when you go voting, there'll be like someone will have a barbecue and they'll have like a sausage sizzle. That's what it's called.
Okay, a sausage sizzle.
And yeah, and so it's just like a sausage and some bread with some onions or something on top. And it sounds awful, doesn't it, when you think about it? I don't have it because I'm vegetarian, but I hear it assists with voting when you need to vote on something.
I am looking at this, and this is madness.
Google sausage sizzle, yeah.
This is like when I'm having a hot dog, and it's like we only have white bread left. He's like, oh, I can't believe you.
Yes. And that's what people. That's what you want. You gotta go vote, and feel sad about the state of Australian politics, and then you go get a sausage sizzle. I don't know.
Right, I've had multiple Australian guests on the show, and none of them have exposed me to the crime as a sausage sizzle. And
It's called a democracy sausage when you when you go when it's voting. I don't know what it's called when you go to Bunnings for it. I think that's what that is. Disgusting. No, I'm kidding.
No.
They're fine. Like I've never had
Yeah.
food. I don't think anyone I know has had food poisoning from them. So that's
they're
you know, a
probably
plus.
fine. But I'm turning around the fact you call them democracy sausages. They're cool again. I like them. That feels very a parody of
Also, I
America.
feel like I was like, there we go. We're back in. I was also thinking like I don't know if this is like podcast appropriate, but I'm sure there has to be an Australian porn out there called Democracy Sausage.
Yeah. Now,
And if there's not, someone please make that. Like, I'm not going to watch it, but I think you should make it.
right,
Like,
right. Listen, you can't watch everything that exists in the world, but doesn't mean it shouldn't exist.
exactly. Like, someone has to make that, please.
I have to get to the bottom of this mystery. Ray, you no. I'm not asking you to speak for all of Australia right now, but this is a very important question. Do you have
Yes.
hot dog buns over there?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so
There's no excuse. I think it's just
so now I would get very obsessed with the sausage. I'm closing the sausage sizzle tab and I'm gonna cast it from my mind. Ray, what is stand up? Tell me. We alluded to it briefly.
yes, the game.
What is stand up about? How would you describe it?
So yeah, it's a game about the trans experience. So I wanted to kind of create something that looked at how our experiences are often defined by like the media or governments or cis people. And then I also sort of wanted to touch on, I guess, most importantly, that being trans is about your own experience or one's own experience, and that it's about being loved. It's very corny little game. Takes like 2 seconds to play, but I love it. It's a delight. And so yeah, it's very trans-tastic. I think every game I've made is like very trans heavy in theme.
The mad versus mutual Ray. It's why it's in the scene. Love to have it. But yeah, no, I mean, I highly recommend people just go out and play these games. And that's also the benefit of having something like Bitsy is like, because you don't have to code 8 million things, you can make it. And the tactile
and like
the tactile nature of games separates it from like if you were to try to convey all these you can't convey that same idea through poetry that you can in a way that someone can interact with it.
Yeah, like it's in the poems that like I've written and stuff. Like most, like I was gonna say, both the books that I've had published are also very trans heavy. But like there's certain things that you can convey. Like I try and convey like a lot of experimental things in print, but like to and I guess like the way that someone reads and interprets a text is considered like interaction, but there's like such a different vibe with Bitsy and with Twine and stuff where there you can basically be the character and play through something and kind of have that experience maybe even like a little bit more intensely than poetry. I don't know, like I guess it depends on what like someone's vibe is. Like if someone doesn't play games but prefers poetry or vice versa, but it is definitely a different experience, and I feel like it's more it's definitely like more colorfully visual as well than just like poetry on a page. And it's like interesting because I also do like spoken word poetry and like host a lot of like poetry evenings and stuff for my work, and like that kind of thing, like audience participation and like vocalizing poetry is also entirely different. So it's like interesting to kind of have all these different modes that I can express my poetry including Bitsy.
Yeah, there's with any medium there's no one way to do it, and that's the weird thing about like, I don't know, when you think about genres or mediums and like how poetry crosses across mediums when it itself is theoretically like a genre or medium or whatever, but you can do it in all these different things and just call it poetry, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Like, call things what you want. Like, you know, if
right.
you're like, I am an artist and the way I do art is, I don't know, something really abstract that I've not thought of before. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, right. Turns out
for gold.
it's less rigidly defined than all this. But
Yeah, exactly.
Ray, I'm going to ask you to rigidly define a couple of things for me right now, though.
All right.
What is your favorite rock? Type of rock. Sorry, my
Oh, yeah.
mistake.
Why didn't I prepare? I know I knew these questions were coming and I didn't even
Yes,
think about it. A rock with a bug under it, or like a
perfect.
little lizard or something. Yeah, you know, it's got to be a home for a little guy, I reckon.
And he's like, "What are you doing? Why did you lift up my house? Excuse you.
What is going on?
How
Why are you
rude!
like this?
How rude of you. Imagine if
You're
I
like, I'm
came
so sorry. I was looking for the hidden door key. I'm so sorry.
and imagine if I came into your house and I ripped off all your blankets. How would you feel? You do that, and
Oh
like
my God, I feel so sorry for this hypothetical little dude. Like,
a little pill bug is just standing above you as you it just rudely awakens you by tearing you out of your bed.
I was like, it is literally you pick up rocks and there's just cockroaches.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the vibe over here. Uh, I'm really selling Australia to everyone.
I forgot.
Please move here if you want. We are great.
I forgot you don't have any. I forgot you don't have any little bugs over there. They're all gigantic and trying to kill you.
They're all massive.
I've got spiders all over this room, and they were like my friends.
Oh no, it's like I mean, like I think there's some like daddy long legs. I don't
Yeah,
know
that's like
don't know
all
if
of it.
that's a bug, but yeah, yeah, like they're fine. We have them. They're cool dudes. But no, beyond that, they're the size of your hand. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, they eat the other little bugs that are not my friend. I see their little shells that they leave behind of their little
Ugh.
cocoons. Yeah, the little like cocoons that are like that had a bug in it at some point. Got to vacuum that up. And
It's like you
finally,
can just also collect them in a jar anyway. So
do you have a favorite Toho character?
yeah, no, I had to Google it. I'm sorry, I'm a terrible
It's not.
person. I'm like, I don't know
You don't
what
have to.
this is.
That's why that question is a do, not a what. You know, it's a
Yeah, I
mission.
was like, no, no, I don't, but I could do. You know, I don't watch a lot of things, but you know, I could hang on. Is it an anime?
Well, see now this is we're running into the second
Uh,
hurdle, which is I don't properly pronounce Toho. If you don't know what Toho is, it's
uh,
Touhou, not To. We're talking about the long running Dojin series by Jun, not the Japanese film production company.
oh, okay, right. Yeah, no, that's still
Still a mystery.
definitely. Yeah, I was like, that is still
That's all right. Real,
still definitely not but definitely like they look delightful. Like kind of reminds me of I was a big like Sailor Moon fan as a kid,
yeah,
and I'm
we're looking
like,
for
oh,
more
these
Cernos,
look the
less
same.
Godzillas around these parts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But anyway, Ray, we're gonna go on break for a moment. Thank you for joining me here.
Thank you.
We'll be back in. Wait, did I pick? Two songs are 2 minutes and 46 seconds long. Would you believe it? Anyway, after the second one, we'll be back. Bye. Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That's the name of the show. Yes, we are. That was "Beggars Might Ride" by Destroyer. I put a little weird emphasis on of band. Yeah, there's more than one people in that Dan Bihar fronted group. It is not a. He did like a weird soft rock album. Kaput, true classic. We're back here with Ray and Ryan. We're just hanging out talking about Hungry Jack still, discovering the origins of it, perhaps. But
Feeling
there's
for a lot of
literally
your
one.
conversation.
Yeah, there's literally one up the road, and now I'm just like, am I going to end up having that for lunch now? Like, because that's what I'm thinking of. Um,
Yes.
yeah, we're trying to work out why it's not called Burger King here, and it was an Australian businessman, Jack Cowan, who went to open the chain's first franchise here in Australia, and there was already a local restaurant called Burger King that had the same name, and so just he decided to call it Hungry Jack's. But as we were saying, like, why not call it like Hungry King? I don't know. I think that would be quite
Right.
good.
Not
Actually, it's an
Hungry
educational
King
show.
is like
Hungry
Hungry
King.
King could be like a really good I know like drag king name.
it feels
If these are titled, this
yeah.
episode is now Hungry King.
Yeah.
These are not titled, but that would be a fun name for it. That is. I feel like a Hungry King. It occupies the same brain space as Short King in my brain.
Yeah.
It does.
Be like, that guy's a hungry king. Like, he's like a guy just like chows down a meal, and you think, what a hungry king.
Honestly, like hashtag goals, like 20, I'm going into 2024. Like I've gone from short king. I'm not going to get any taller, but like, let's go with Hungry King.
Right.
You can't get taller, but you can get hungrier.
Yeah, no need to remind me that I'm shorter. But what if I was just hungry? And I'm like,
Yeah.
they can
Well,
pray a
Hungry
true
King.
hungry king.
Yeah, I need a step ladder to get up on like the high shelves to get, the tall things in the pantry or in the shops, but I'm still hungry.
But you're still eating them all. You're like, oh, that bag of chips, I'll handle that on my own. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I got this.
The server comes over to like, oh, would you like a takeout bag for that? And you go, no, I'll handle everyone else's food. Don't you worry about it.
I literally did that at like we went to like a banquet thing and I was the last one standing. I felt very proud. But we still did have like 3 takeout containers left. But I was still, having a go, trying to eat everyone's food. The enthusiasm was there, the the mindset was there, the stomach was like, no.
Well, that's
Hungry King is a mindset.
Yeah.
That's the secret, though. If you eat fast enough, your stomach doesn't know yet that you ate so much food.
I feel like that's a terrible idea, but I respect it.
It is a terrible idea. You shouldn't trick your stomach like that. That's how it gets to the point where it's like, I don't want this food anymore. It's too much of it, and then it goes out the other way. You don't want that. The last thing I need is returning.
Yeah, I was like, Happy New Year.
No, it's been a very long time since I've done that, and I don't plan on doing it again anytime soon. It is.
I don't plan on respecting the "don't trick your stomach" rule. I didn't know that was a rule, and I will not be adapting to it.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it's a rule. I think it's a thing you can do, and that's how you go, oh, I didn't think I ate so much. Why am I so full? It's because I ate a whole pizza in 10 minutes.
I was like, is that why your handle is Pizza Pranks? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, no, I mean, I do like, there's an etymology behind it, I'm sure. There is, or not an etymology, a history behind it. But it's got good SEO, so I'm not going to switch it.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, mine does
feel
not.
like-
Oh, sorry. So there's a real
no.
estate agent here with the same name as me. It's spelled RAY, but yeah, like people just assume that I'm a real estate agent. So I got to say, like, it's my name. Not very helpful.
Yeah,
Sorry, what were you going to say, Ryan?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing important. Just that. Yeah, I've had to make up my middle name on Twitter now because I'm just like, right, my name's Ryan Brown. It's like a bit too common for like SEO and branding and whatever. So I'm like,
yes.
And I don't like that my middle name is actually Neil, but Ryan N. Brown sounds like a Crash Bandicoot villain to me. It's like Dr. N. Gen or Dr. Neocortex or whatever. So I've just turned it to T, which is just like, that's just turns out of me. So now I'm Ryan T. Brown, and I had that put on like a lanyard at the recent event. And I was like, cool, I've officially you can just do that, I guess. Like you can just, that's now just accepted, I suppose. I could just change my middle name.
Well, that's the secret of names is you can just change them. You just make a new one every
I love
time.
it.
You know? You can just
I was like,
what if that was my name?
I also feel like RN Brown could be like, if you shortened it that way, like that's a crime writer, like, right? You're a best-selling crime writer, like.
But it's also R&B is the initials, and that's already that. Then at that point, it sounds like I'm doing an intentional bit So, um, Ryan T. Brown it is. Or just, I think only a few times in my life have I ever, like, someone's actually called me, like, Toads Anime or Toads, like, in person. Like, and then I've seen me at, like, a convention or something and maybe not remember my name, but remember my handle. So they'll come to me and be like, Toads! And it's just like, that's just weird. That's
Yeah.
very weird. But so from now on, I've decided that everyone's just going to be referred to by their online handles, and everyone's just going to stick to it. So now, I'll be yelling pizza pranks out in the street.
No, never, never. Truly cursed. I would never. If people call me that on this show,
Pizza.
I'm very quick to remind them, like, no, that's not my name. I have a regular name, like a person.
First name Pizza, surname Pranks.
I didn't
You
know.
can. It'd be wild if like someone just yelled pizza and 20 people turn around. They're like, "What? The pizza on offer?"
Have you ever turned around hearing someone say pizza?
I would.
Well, I think
I'm hungry.
Yeah, actually, I just do anyway. Yeah,
right.
True.
I've never thought they were talking about me.
Yeah, I gotta say when because Ray sounds a lot like hey, I turn around a lot.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like, oh yeah, that person's talking. Oh no, they're just yelling hey. Never mind.
I get that with my name Ryan. Like if someone says, especially with English accents, I guess if someone says right, I don't know why, but there's a lot of like if they go right, that's just because you go right, and it just sounds like Ryan. So I'll look at them and be like, huh? And they haven't even said anything close to my name, but a lot of accents makes it sound like it.
Right, it gets it close enough there to the point
Yeah.
where it's right. That's why
my head just goes. Yeah.
And if you've got headphones in, you're like, oh, that was close enough. Hello. Do you need me?
Yeah.
So, see, that's why we all need our old Discord style unique identifier, so that you'll be like, "Hey, Andrew, #4657, how you doing?" So they know, yes, they're talking to me. I am that Andrew, and that is my unique ID.
They should all be numbers, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
And appending whatever.
It's like, in our capitalist society, aren't we already all numbers? Anyway,
wow.
What if?
Bringing stuff down.
Oh damn, dude! What if we were like our social media numbers though? Oh my god, I'm 3,000. I'm barely a person. What am I gonna do?
I like that. I'm barely a person.
You don't become a person until you get to 10K, 20K even.
Sadly, not even then.
Not even then. Whenever, but it's just a different mentality. I was thinking today, earlier, whenever when you occasionally you see that cursed For You tab. I was seeing someone being like, "Oh, oh my god, going viral again," or like when you see people talk about going viral, and I think of, if you're familiar, there's a line from The Simpsons where Milhouse's dad is a big wheel down to Cracker Factory, and I think about that whenever someone talks about, yeah, I went viral. And it's like, they're indeed a big wheel down the Cracker Factory. Also, virality has changed so dramatically that it kind of doesn't mean anything, or it means something different, or you can post a picture of a lawn chair and be like, y'all remember this? And people, 10,000, 80,000 retweets. I do remember those.
Oh yeah, that's some of the silliest stuff that I've posted has gotten like more, hits than something that I care about, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Also, yeah. I never watched this. Never watched The Simpsons. I can't believe I didn't. Yeah, it's not something. I think I've watched maybe 3 episodes. I don't know if I was not allowed to watch it, I think, as a kid. I just never did. It's a whole like cultural like thing that I just passed me by.
It is like a very specific it's like coming back in a way too, or like it like cycles back around kind of because it's still going,
And it was like when I met like however many years ago, like 20 years ago, like when I met the partner that I live with, and she'd like say these really funny things, and I was like, oh my God, she's so funny and like pretty and stuff. I didn't know half of them were Simpsons jokes. And she just was just like, oh yeah, they're vibing with me. And I was just like, she's so funny. And yeah, it turns out there were Sims. I just had no idea. So, she wins that round.
it's it's for a while there, it's quite a funny show, kind of well written, one might say. It kind of really, I think about. Speaking of the big wheel, there's a you can find it very easily online. Of Milhouse's dad getting fired from that aforementioned Cracker Factory, and it's like I don't know, a minute long, and it's probably one of my favorite bits of comedy on television. It's just so each line kind of outdoes the last. It's very funny. That's just me saying. You out there in listener land, go look up Milhouse's dad gets fired. I'm sure that will get you the clip you need.
Whenever anything. Sorry.
Oh no, you go.
Whenever I like see me like not major, but like news that is like cool to me, like video game news or something, like oh this has been announced, I'm excited by it. Literally in my head, the clip of that like famous clip of like when Homer's reading the newspaper and it says free trampolines, where Homer goes, "Oh my God!" Like that clip plays in my head with the music and everything. Whenever I read like cool like video game news, I'm excited about that. Yeah. That is what happens in my brain. Is that moment, and then everyone outside. Yeah, literally.
Right. There's so many little things that I just like have burned into people's subconscious for generations of just like all these different. Anyway, we're not going to sit around here talking about The Simpsons all day because I could. 2024, get people on podcasts. I'll be on a Simpsons podcast. I watched the commentaries multiple times.
I was like, all right, I got a proposal for a Simpsons podcast as someone who's not watched it. What if I just watched every episode and like did it episode by episode and then talked about it with people? There we go. Because I haven't seen it. No, I've no idea what's going on.
Yeah, that would be fascinating.
People love getting first.
Like someone coming in fresh and like don't tell them where you think the good seasons are and see if they can find them or what they believe what these like culturally understood quote unquote good seasons are.
Notes. Yeah, like I take copious notes and like I feel like I'm not going to commit to this ever.
No,
but it could be.
There's only like 35 seasons or whatever. At like 24 episodes a season.
Hang on, how many? I'm bad at maths. Hang on, 24 by what was it? How many seasons?
Well, Simpsons episode count. Let me just give you an exact number real quick.
Oh, because I was like, I don't. Yeah,
there's 35 seasons.
Yeah, so 35 times approximately 24.
It's 840 hours. So, I mean, I think if you did like what an hour pod. Hang on, hold on, no. 20, they're half an hour episodes, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're like TV half hours, so they're more like 22 minutes.
Okay, so divided by. All right, so I mean, you could, God, and then if you did like a podcast a week, that's 52. Hang on, 52. You could go do a podcast in 5.5 years, maybe.
Assuming they could. But don't forget, they're still making more of them.
Oh God, are they?
Yeah, it's not stopped.
Oh, they're good for them.
How long does it take to watch The Simpsons? How long does it take to watch every episode of The Simpsons? 15 days and 8 hours.
Wow. Okay. The channel here that we've only just gotten. So I just moved house recently, and we just got free to air TV. Finally, we didn't have TV reception in the old place, but here we do. And like free to air here, apparently there's like one channel that just shows Seinfeld continuously, and I feel that. I was like, oh okay. So yeah, I wonder. I mean, that could be a thing. Just continuously watch The Simpsons and do a podcast on it. It's like, do you want to be a part of that? We could just.
Yeah,
We've just met, and this is crazy, but do you want to join me in a Simpsons podcast? I actually don't want to do this, but if
No,
someone wants to take the idea who's listening, please do.
that is an untenable goal. I have in my brain, if I had vanity podcasts I could do, I would love to do other vanity podcasts. I would my vanity podcasts, cultural vanity podcasts, is I would love to go through and rate, like end up with like a rated, like a top to bottom rated list of all the music referenced in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and be like, we be like, okay, he references a lot of music, but which one's the best? And just go do it chronologically and slowly build out a list. I mean, I think I know it's probably just fucking Core the Crimson King. Just off the top of my head, what is in there? I don't think Red Hot Chili.
Like, yeah, there's. I was like, is that like a tweet, a YouTube episode, or a podcast? Like,
yeah,
it's all of the above.
It is. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of like ideas. Like, what if we had infinite time? This is what we're missing by not having universal basic income. If I had that,
no.
My JoJo's podcast would be done by now, and you would know.
It'd be amazing. I'd be listening to it. I was going to say, Ryan, what would your if UBI existed, what would your vanity podcast be?
Oh my goodness, there'd be so many. I would literally, I'd have the most niche, weird things if I had endless time. If I had endless time, I'd do so much. That's why I cut hobbies out, because it's just like, I can't be interested in this right now because I am not made of clocks. Gosh, what would my vanity project be? My vanity podcast be? I don't know. It would be my partner. He wants me to do a horror movie podcast, but I don't think the world wants to hear two white men on a horror movie podcast. I'm sure there's already like 50 of them, but for him, I'd probably do it if I had endless time.
It's like, no, I'd listen to it.
Sick. There we go.
I was like, you got one listener.
You're probably the ideal host makeup for what people are looking for. Actually, that's
good.
That is 90% of podcasting being white guys.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true, and I'm also one of those people that are like such a white guy trip with podcasts, but I've absolutely had a podcast before, so I'm one of them.
But the secret is to have a guest style podcast, because then you can have
which is what it was. Yes, it was a video game developers and stuff. But also there's I probably still loads of it, but I enjoyed it, so that's good.
That's the point of it. Like, you gotta, if you don't enjoy, that's really the ultimate point of it. Because listen, we're all gonna turn to dust, and 90% of everything we do is gonna be forgotten anyway. So.
Yeah, that's the bright side. Yeah.
That's wrong. That was I was speaking off the top. It's more like 99% of all culture is going to be forgotten.
Yeah,
I honestly
not my
think
podcast,
that so much.
Yeah,
like I think that's why I write, and like why I did community radio for ages, and like I have all the podcasts of all the episodes I did, but no one else does, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
Like, what happens to, and like, what happens to, like, so, like, I've just got asked to like archive a book in like the National Library, and I'm like, well, that's cool, but what if the library goes away?
Right.
Like, I think about that a lot.
Me too. I literally do as well, like massively, like obsessed about it. Like the last 3 places I've worked have been preservation is like one of the main focuses of sort of the company, so it is a big thing for me, and I like obsessed about physical versions of everything. Obsessed about making sure everything's saved and backed up, and I think a lot about like, will this be accessible in 100 years? Will anyone care about it in 100 years? Right. How will I access it when I'm 90 years old and I want to play this thing or look at this thing? I think about all that a lot, about everything. So I'm that person as well. If I like a podcast, I download it, or I make sure I have it all downloaded. Same as shows and films and games and everything. Everything
I have, I have games on my hard drive that I don't think are online anymore.
Mhm.
I've,
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think we even probably spoke about this before, right?
Right.
So on that before in that. Yeah, I have a hard drive of 40,000 plus games from the indie scene of the last 30 years. Yeah, before even indie games were booming, I was like in commercial sense, I was downloading them from websites and stuff. And I've literally been in a scenario where like a fairly influential like indie developer like tweeted out like, "Cool, I'm about to do a talk and I want to mention this game, but I don't have it." And I was like, "I have it. I literally have your game." I had to send them their game,
right.
and
Yeah.
then I
'Cause
was just like, "This is madness! Like, what a horrible situation that is."
things just get
Which
lost.
yeah,
That's part of why I'm like, you know, I have little physical editions because they're neat and they make money. But also, it's nice to have like physical editions of things floating around in the world. You know, to have
yeah,
like, oh, look at this. It's honestly you can like, it's a lot easier to like pass a physical edition of something to somebody else and have them read it or play it or something like.
yeah.
An
Although it's
unread.
kind of sad that physical is the current best solution to preservation. That seems sort of like digital should fix that. It
Yeah.
should have been the solution because everything, discs are going to disintegrate in 100 years.
Yeah.
But it should have been the solution, digital, but it's not. It's actually better to have physical stuff for preservation mode, which
Yeah.
is backwards. It shouldn't work that way, but hey,
Because I think physical preservation also has a kind of like cultural preservation is as, if not in some ways, more important than it just being actually accessible, because all the accessibility in the world does only so much good if it has 0 downloads on the Internet Archive.
Mm.
And there's something about like a book a friend lends you takes up space within your brain and within your house in the same way a PDF does not, or not. So like
Yeah,
I
physical
reckon
things
that's
have that
like,
kind of power.
yeah, and I feel like that's like a thing in the zine community, like where people are, there's, a lot of digital versus print things, and it's interesting because like I like that kind of thing with zines where you've got a copy of a zine and there's not many copies, or you've never seen it again and you don't know if the person's still printing it. You can't even find them on social media anymore or whatever, but you can lend that zine to a friend. And I really like that kind of almost the opposite of archiving. Like it's like you've archived it but maybe no one else has, and it's like there's that kind of interesting like what happens if this copy gets lost, kind of. I don't know, it's quite haunting, I feel, for zines. There's actually like a bunch of places, there's a place in Melbourne that has like a queer zine library. I say I think that I know that's a thing, but I'm like I can't think of where it is. But yeah, it's I'm like they have all this incredible zine and magazine and paraphernalia kind of stuff, and I'm like, there's just this one archive. What happened?
What if you're not in Melbourne?
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yes.
I visited it once, and yeah, it's incredible. But yeah, exactly. Like, what if you don't live there? Like, I don't know. I was like, is there anything in my city? Probably not.
Right, and there's
Yeah.
if you scan online, if nobody's talking about it or nobody is like thinking to access it, it doesn't make a difference. Like, what's the difference in it even being online at all? It's that weird. It's I think about that a lot. Just like awareness of something. As being.
I feel that a lot.
About like as like in a crucial part of preservation.
I'm trying to find what it's called so that if anyone's actually listening and wants to go there.
Yeah, that's super cool. I'm glad that exists, at least. That surprises me. That sounds great.
I think you can probably search your way there fast enough. Melbourne Queer Zine Library. I think that collection of words will probably get you there.
Yeah, I was like, is it actually exclusively queer, or did I like put that in my brain? Like, to me, everything's queer until proven straight. I was like, did I do that in my brain? Like, is that what I?
I think if you put it in your brain enough, other people may have done that. That it might.
Yeah.
SEO takes over.
It's weird. I can't find it. I found like so many other different things. This is not great. Oh well, someone will find it. Good luck out there,
Yeah.
fan.
We are
Well,
not.
someone's preserving it.
We are
Yeah,
not your
exactly.
Wikipedia. This is a radio show. I don't know what do you expect from us? We are not
We've got
experts.
I like I obviously like with not to get all worky, but like my last job obviously was super best known for like
Yeah.
doing physical versions of indie games on the Switch and stuff, right? And my current place is best known for
Nice.
like trying to preserve like video game culture in book form and stuff. And that's what I think a lot of people forget is that like there are like museums and archive groups and stuff that really do want to preserve pretty much every tiny aspect of video game culture as is possible.
Yeah.
So in case anyone is listening that is taking part in Indiepocalypse or making little games or whatever, like if you feel that your game is unimportant, it's not. It's all part of video game culture as a whole. You've probably inspired someone or had some impact in even the smallest way, which is, in my view, important. I legit feel that every video game is important, has value. So places like the Strong Museum in New York will take everything. I mean, they really will take everything and archive everything, keep everything. Every video game magazine, every video game, every piece of concept art, every doodle you put in a book, everything. They want everything. They love all that stuff, and they love it more if you have like a small game on itch.io and you feel no one cares about it, but you have like loads of notes when you were making it. You have all the concept art and stuff. If you want to give
Oh,
that sort of
yeah.
stuff to the Strong Museum, they love that. They love they can tell a story about a game being made. They absolutely love it. So yeah, like there are, and obviously there's like the Video Game History Foundation, and there's a couple. There's more localized, sort of smaller video game museums, like the National Video Game Museum in Cambridge in the UK, and the Computing History Museum in the UK, and some other ones. But yeah, those two main ones, like the Strong Museum and Video Game History Foundation, they'll take everything. They'll definitely just everything. Everyone should make sure everything's archived and preserved. Right. Oh, but there's a point. If you make the itch.io games and they're browser only and they're not downloadable, that makes me cry at night.
So, I was like, hang on, shivers. What are my settings?
That is why I very emphasize like you have to. That's my sneaky way of making downloadable versions of games too, where I'm like, no, I need to have a downloadable version of your game that is playable offline. So doing that small part to force HTML devs to make downloadable versions of their games every couple of issues.
Yeah, we probably hit a lot of the same with Mixtape and Indiepocalypse. We probably have hit a lot of the same sort of issues like that. I feel.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Right, there's there's overlap. You see overlap within the spaces even of like. People, working at similar scales. It's an interesting thing, and I think that's why it's like, oh, well, my thing is not. It's the hard thing to say to people of, hey, stick with your work. It'll be relevant 10 years from now. But that's also why you submit it to things, have people preserve it, because you never know like where culture is going to shift. Once advertising dollars disappear and works are kind of just judged within their own merits. Sometimes you realize a lot of things were really banking on those advertising dollars to maintain cultural relevancy.
Yeah. And even like in my mind as well, like even if one person in 20 years time goes, oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
That game. I'm working on games now, and I remember that little game that I played once. I don't remember the name of it, but I enjoyed it, whatever. Like, if one person thinks that ever, like, your game should be somewhere. Like, that's honestly how I feel. Like, everything has value. I mean, there's, the smallest itch.io games in the world are going to have one person that's played it, even if it's a friend or family. Like, everything means something to someone.
Right.
I just feel I'm very, I take the sort of preservation and culture preservation stuff to the absolute maximum. I'm on that maximum end of the scale of how I feel like preservation should be.
Right. The grind set can poison how you think about your art. And and be like, oh,
I feel like that's
be like, it's no good. I didn't get a viral success, or 6 people played it. 6 people playing a thing is a lot of people still.
Yeah.
The internet's kind of warped our sense of scale of people playing and like enjoying our stuff.
And most people don't comment either. Like
Yeah.
most people will play something and never comment and never tell you they played it and never share it or never do anything. Still played it. It makes still like that's certainly the case for me. There's so many indie games that I've played in the last 10, 15, 20 years. Little ones that frankly no one else probably remembers. The developer probably has no idea that anyone ever remembers their game. I do. And I just have never spoken about it.
Right.
But like I could name a million games like that I played as a kid that have built my current tastes in games. And if I go on to do something in video games and in 20 years' time I've like made a difference on game culture or whatever, then it's like, okay, well, that one little tiny game that I've never spoken about, that no one ever, that developer's moved on and doing something else now, never even thinks anyone remembers their games. Like that is in some small part influenced something else. And I think that like almost everything is going to have some sort of trail like that, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. I keep at your stuff. Speaking of keeping at our stuff, one thing we're not going to be keeping at is this show.
Nice.
I've got my knife out. That means I'm getting ready to close the show. My handy used for cutting open large boxes.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening? Why is there a knife?
It's. I have one of those hardware knives. It's a DeWalt, not branded content. It's just like I needed it to cut open my capsule machine kind of thing that I made for games. And I was like, because the hardware store didn't sell the thing that cat burglars use to make perfect circles into glass windows. So I just had to I got this instead, and it worked fine, I guess.
Capsule thing for games.
Yes, yeah, it's because a while ago I opened up like a consignment shop of like, I'm going to events. If you have games, I'll sell them at events for you, but I couldn't get people to buy them. And so I was trying to find different ways. And I'm like, well, what if I put them in a capsule machine? And it's like a fun little gimmick of you turn the crank.
That's super cool.
You turn the crank, you get a random game. Still not getting that much success with that, but
yeah, there's ones like that for zines where you put in like a buck or something, and then you get and then the little zine pops out, and I was like,
yes. That's so cool.
I think it'll do better if I go to like a proper gaming event, but I do like I primarily do like I've only brought to like a little art market, at which point just understanding that I'm selling games and understanding the concept of Indiepocalypse I think is like daunting, and then they're like, a capsule machine, what's going on with this thing? Or they're not.
Oh, like a gacha thing at a game event. That would do so well. Honestly, yes. I actually think people would love it.
Yeah, so I need to see how it fares at a gaming event where people are just like already tuned into like liking games, to the point where they will like, yeah, I'll draw for a random game.
I would. I was like, I'm there now. Like,
so that's my hope, but I haven't come across many of those. But that's always scheming up. Scheming is a weird way to say it, but it is sort of. I feel like it has the scheming energy of like, I got to figure out a new way. Like, how do I get freaking money for this stuff? How do I get game developers to get paid? I have to figure it out.
So I feel like that's a big mood. Like, I'm often just like, how do I make money from poetry and other things?
Yes, how can I get people? How does art make money? And how do I make money for other people at the same time?
Yeah, because it's like you don't want it just to be about you. Like, I always want it to be about other people as well. And then I'm like, this is difficult.
I believe Ray, you were a recent recipient of. Did you not? Did you get that yesterday? Were you one of those?
Oh, yes.
You get
I did get some PayPal cash money. So I was like, God, what did I receive? What happened?
Yes, you received the vaunted Indiepocalypse $6 to $8.
Honestly, it delights me every time it arrives because I'm like, that's very nice.
That's what my hope is when people, just to get like a random like $6 to $7 in their PayPal, like, oh, look at that, that's nice.
It was great. I was at the yarn store with my mum, and I was like, oh, well, there we go then. Gonna buy some yarn.
Exactly. It's like I did this thing. I submitted to this random game jam on itch 2 years ago, and then it pays me about like $12 a year, which
What,
is
like, what more? I was going to say, what more could you ask for it? That I'm like, actually,
more than yeah.
God, UBI, come on.
Yes, I'm. that's what I'm striving for, to help out that where UBI doesn't exist. What if I? That's the Indiepocalypse UBI, which is
Honestly, like, I feel like that's kind of because, like, I run a journal, MB Life, and I also work for like our state's like poetry organization, and so like that's basically I'm just like, how do I keep myself afloat while paying other people? It's just like it's all I want.
yeah.
Um, and it works, but yeah, it's still that kind of thing where it's like, I still feel like I'm paying people. Um, like I'm like I want to pay people more and more and more.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't, like it's not a thing that can happen. But I don't know, maybe one day.
Yeah,
Um,
uh, it's like trying
z-
to make it, I don't know, not sustainable, but create more avenues so that people can get more money, so that whereas
and then so like you yourself don't burn out. I'm like,
yes, that's the true killer, is burnout. That's why I don't work on the weekend.
yes, yeah. I was like, how dare you call me on my weekend? No, it's yeah, but like, yeah,
Well, this is
exactly.
barely
Like,
work. This is I don't consider this work in the slightest. The only thing I have to do after this is slice out the music I played and then upload it. I don't edit this thing. Uh,
yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'm just like, yeah, don't edit it.
it's fine. You get the raw chat. Because yeah, no, if I was like on the grind nonstop of like, oh, I've got to work while I eat and work until I go to sleep and
Oh,
work all weekend. I have to work until this thing is successful. I would have stopped a very long time ago, and not
exactly.
and
Like
not be
it's
entering
balance.
the fifth year of doing this. That's a long time. Jesus Christ.
That was gonna say that is a long time. Like that. It's great.
The 40 next in 6 days, the 48th one of these comes out. That's a
Oh
lot.
God.
My God, that's a lot.
It's like that's a lot. I want to have a lie down.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of games.
That is, yeah. Like that is incredible. I don't think I was like, have I made 48 of anything? No. I've probably made 48 sandwiches in my life, like
That's what I
probably
was going to
over
ask.
that, but
I
not
feel like
48
if,
zines. Yeah.
but yeah, no, that is that's a lot. But I also I remember, got to remind myself, doing a lot of something in itself is not inherently impressive. Uh, it's just that you did a lot of them. But that said,
Yeah.
speaking of things we did a lot of, we did a lot of episodes of this show. This is episode 132
Whoa.
of this
Best
show.
best number.
It's a bunch of numbers of this show, and we got to end it. We're going to wrap up session number 2. Let me try again. Go again.
Get the knife back out.
Yes.
Good luck.
This is long-term guests, long-term listeners of the show will know these things just go on forever. Oh, that's what I did. One time I thanked the listeners of the show. I should do that. I was like, oh, that's a good thing that people do on shows, that they thank people for listening. I should do that. Everything. I should.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you, everyone out there. But no, oh, you know what? I do at the very, very end. That's why I always forget, because I get into ramp-up mode, and then I just kind of go off on a ledge, and I forgot the things that I was saying. So, Ray,
Thank them. Give them 10 more minutes.
we've chatted a lot, Ray, but where can people find your work if they're looking to find it?
Oh yeah. Oh God, I forgot I'm a person.
You're a person that
Yes,
makes things. Where can people find those things?
look, I'm extremely Googleable. Except in Australia, where sometimes you'll get hits for real estate, as I said before. But yeah, it's just RAE, Ray White, like the color. I've got a website. I've got an itch. And it's all under my name. I've got pretty much all of the social medias. I'm extremely Googleable. Yeah, just raywhite.net is the website. From there, you can go find cool things. And yeah, just Ray White on itch.
Perfect.
I hope you find the games and enjoy them.
Yes, I hope you do find the games, enjoy them, and folks, I say it every week. Get your own damn website, even if it's just a URL that redirects to something else. Get your own damn URL. They're handy.
It is good because you can just say like it's like raywhite.net. People are like, oh, that's fancy, and I'm like, it's not.
Right. And even if raywhite.net just went to raywhite.itch.io, they still got to go through raywhite.net first.
Exactly. I was like, we're going to get so many hits. I don't know. I actually don't measure the hits on the website. I have no idea.
I don't either. I don't measure the hits on the website. I don't measure the hits on this radio show. The only thing I was looking at was itch or like the zine sales, and I've stopped looking at those or like the zine traffic. I've stopped worrying about that this year. I have to obviously.
It's honestly, it's better for the mental health. It's good. It's good stuff.
I mean, I do have to keep track of the sales because I need to pay people, of course. But how many people visit the page? How many downloads it gets? How many likes I get online? I don't need them. Ryan, hello.
Hello.
Where can people find your work if they're looking to find your work?
It's a great question. The best question.
Do you have an answer for it? Uh-oh.
Yeah. So currently on Twitter, I'm not calling it X, on Twitter at Toads Anime, TOADS Anime.
Yes.
I tweet a lot about things. I'm currently based there, but who knows? Hopefully one day we'll all jump over to Blue Sky or something. Obviously currently working at Lost in Cult. Yeah, currently working at Lost in Cult. That's lostincult.co.uk. We make video game culture books and lots of cool video game preservation-y things. We recently did an Eastwood book. We did a vinyl for a Highwood song in El Paso Elsewhere recently. We've got some really cool stuff coming out in the new year, including my new publishing label where I hope to release some really cool, awesome, experimental, amazing, very artistic indie games. So look out for that next year.
Well, perfect. Keep an eye out. There's a lot. Me. That's what this next is. Me. Yes, that guy. Indiepocalypse. You know where to get it. It's indiepocalypse.com. I said get a damn website. I have my own damn website. That's where you get them. Go to indiepocalypse.com. You can buy them there. You can buy them on itch if you prefer. Which is just, I don't know, pizzapranks.itch.io. But hey, I saw them around website too. That's handy. Take a lot less of a cut, and it doesn't take me 3 to 8 weeks to get paid, which I also enjoy. That's a big plus, I think. But you can get it there. You can get it at indiepocalypse.com/Patreon is where you get you can subscribe to it. You can subscribe to get strictly the commissioned games as well for like $5 a month, which is like, it's like a bargain. A bargain, I say, for commissioned games from some of the freshest, hottest indie devs that you around, making short little games for you every single month. Well, I mean, they make them, within the span of 3 months, but you're getting one every month. So as far as you know, they're making them every month. If you want, we talked about physical editions. If you want to get physical editions of Indiepocalypse, that's indiepocalypse.com/tapes. They're cool little USB sticks inside of cassette cases. If you're an indie dev and you're like, oh, those are cool, what if I had some of those? As of like Friday, I was like, I put up I say launch, and by launch I mean I made a Google form for Indiepocalypse. I think it's my URL. Is it Tape Club? I think I called it Tape indiepocalypse.com. So that's one of my new redirects, so I'm not sure. Yes, indiepocalypse.com/tape club. If you want me to print tapes for you, basically at cost, as a way of being like, we talked a lot about zines on here, and I think these things are good low-cost versions of like making quote-unquote zines for game devs. Which
yeah.
I think game devs are severely lacking in a low-cost physical edition that they can bring to local zine fairs and craft fairs and art markets and that kind of thing. And I think that helps to you got to kind of build up the indie space from the ground up and that kind of thing. Especially online, it's tricky because you're competing. It's too easy to feel like you're competing with $6 million budgets or whatever when you're like, I made this game in my bedroom after I got home from my job. But
I was like, yeah, how else is anyone else doing it?
yes, but and that is I think those are kind of a way to decouple entirely from, like, listen, if you're making your indie no budget game and putting out an itch, you're barely in the same industry as Annapurna, you know. You're just like, you're both happen to be making video games, but you and Ubisoft, I would never consider you to be in the same industry in the slightest. It's a different thing, you know. In the same way, your local bar band is not this is like so dissimilar. Actually, those are a little different because people actually go to local events to cover them and check them out. And from my experience, there is very little interest in the quote unquote local scene so far as like the press and critic side goes for games. So you just kind of gotta build it from the ground up. That said, I don't think submit, right. If you want to be part of Indiepocalypse, indiepocalypse.com/submit. It's basically always open. If you, like Ray here, would like to receive $40 to $60 up front and then $8 every 6 to 8 months, you too can be part of that deal at indiepocalypse.com/submit.
Good deal.
It is a good deal. You can get a cheesy gordita crunch for that money.
You can actually. Oh god, I want Taco Bell so bad right now. You could,
right? Just be like, Taco Bell, do you take PayPal? And they'll be like, no.
They're like, sir, what?
And then like, can you please hold that cheesy gordita crunch for 3 to 5 business days while this transfers to my bank account? And they'll be like, I guess.
Oh, too real.
I guess we can. It's not like I'm gonna put the cheesy gordita crunch on layaway.
They're just like, no, have it, please. Take it.
Just you weird person, get out of here.
Please get out of the shop.
With that said, Ray, Ryan, thank you both for being here. Love doing the show. I'm enjoying this late night, early morning energy. It's been a while since I do these late shows, which used to be my primary show, but as you know, they don't work as well if you're in Europe, which is a more common guest than a guest in Australia, or like, you know, East Asia, Oceania area. So I switched over to 2 p.m. where the show started at 7 p.m. But anyway, that's enough about the logistics of the show. Hey, out there in listener land, hey, thanks for listening. This is a fun show I like to do. I'm trying to enjoy. I've kind of refound my liking of doing this more in 2023, where I previously had a very contentious relationship with it. Indiepocalypse, that is. It and I were often at odds with one another. I'm like, you're good, why aren't you more popular? And it's like, I don't know, it's your fault. I'm like, oh, it is my fault. And then I'm like, whatever, it doesn't matter. What's people's
no one's fault but the algorithm.
I'm like, what more do people want? What more do people want from me? I self-publish anthology. I pay royalties. I pay developers for new games. I talk with devs on a radio show. I do all this thing. What more do you want from me? Am I not a game dev hero? Sons of bitches. I saw that
on a shirt.
Someone followed me while we were doing the show, and they saw that in their headers. Like, should I lobby for game dev heroes again? should I lobby to on 2024? Should I lobby to be on arbitrary game lists that presumably are just lists of game developers that I think they do something, but they're primarily just lists? Maybe I should. If you see a game developer list, put me on the game list, and then I can be like, I'll put in my bio or something.
Check goals.
Yes, I want to put more arbitrary accolades in my bios. That's 2024 goals. The addition of arbitrary accolades into my bio. I guess I could just put them all there and nobody would call me on. If I put 30 under 30 on there, would anyone actually look up to see if I was on that 30 under 30 list? I don't think so.
I wouldn't. I forgot it was a thing. Yeah, do it.
Nobody would check because it's almost like they don't really mean anything.
Or in the fine print, it's just like 30 under 30 cool people that I like.
Who cares? Anyway, that's the end of the show. Thank you, everyone. All right, no, I did properly thank everyone. Go over to the Discord, join the Discord, and join the conversation. No, don't join the conversation on the Discord. I like that nobody in there really talks very much. It has no moderators.
It's like, don't talk to me.
It has no moderators, and I never want to moderate it. I don't believe it's just, if you have a space with enough adults, I don't think you should have to moderate it. I have friends that we don't have to have a moderator because we're just not assholes. It's just the secret. What if you can just do that? If it has to work, basically I just shut it down. So don't do that. But go there, join a Discord, don't talk. But then when I do the hey everybody at the beginning of the month and I say the issue's out, go yes, give it a thumbs up and then go buy it. That's what my recommendation. That's it. I don't think I have anything else to say. I think I covered everything. I think I hit all my important redirects. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.